Your brain would rather know for sure that something bad is coming than sit with not knowing at all. And that sounds backwards, but explains so much about why your mind keeps reaching for the worst case scenario. You know, the loop. What if this goes badly? What if I lose control? What if I can't handle it? One what if answers itself with another what if, and 20 minutes later, you've mentally lived through 5 disasters that haven't even happened. It's exhausting, and it can feel completely involuntary, like your mind has a mind of its own. Here's the thing: your brain is not being irrational when it does this. It's doing one of the things it was designed to do: forecast what might happen next. I'm Dr. Tracey Reed, a psychiatrist, and I make mental health education videos. So far in this series, we've seen how your brain can make an automatic safety call before you're even aware of it, and how that alarm moves faster than your reasoning can. Now we're going one layer deeper into what your brain does. After the alarm sounds, it starts forecasting what might happen next. Let's start with a basic idea about how your brain works. Your brain doesn't wait for life to fully unfold and then calmly react to it. It's constantly forecasting. It uses past experience, body signals, context, tone of voice, facial expressions, timing, memory, and whatever information it has to make a guess about what's likely to happen next. You can think of this like autocomplete. When you start typing a sentence, your phone tries to finish it for you based on patterns it's seen before. Sometimes it guesses correctly, sometimes it comes up with something completely off and you wonder what your phone is trying to say. Your brain does something similar. It sees the beginning of a situation and tries to fill in the rest. If your system is calm, your brain may offer several possible endings. Maybe they're busy, maybe the meeting is routine. Maybe that body sensation is just tension or caffeine or fatigue even. But if your system is already on high alert, the autocomplete fills in the threat version first. They're mad at me. I'm going to be criticized. Something is wrong with me. I won't be able to handle this. This forecasting process is part of what scientists refer to as predictive processing. In plain language, it means your brain is constantly making predictions and then checking incoming information against those predictions. When the information clearly contradicts the prediction, the brain can update. But under stress, the brain may hold on to danger predictions longer because it's prioritizing safety. It would rather be early and wrong than late and unprepared, and that brings us to uncertainty. Uncertainty is hard on the brain because it increases the number of possible outcomes that the brain has to prepare for. Your brain doesn't want to be blindsided. If you know exactly what you're dealing with, even if it's unpleasant, your brain can organize around it. A known problem may be stressful, but at least it has a shape. You know where to put your attention. An unknown problem stays open. It has no edges, so the brain starts scanning possibilities. Let's say you open the shared document and you see that someone has highlighted a section of your work with the comment, "Let's revise this." That could mean many things. It can mean the wording needs to be clearer. It can mean that they want a different angle. It can mean that they have a small suggestion. But if your brain is already on high alert, it may not read that comment as neutral. It may start filling in the missing information. They don't like my work. I missed something obvious. This is going to be a disaster. The comment itself is short, the uncertainty around it is large, and that blank space gives the threat prediction system room to start building a story. That's why uncertainty can be so activating. Your brain is trying to close the gap. It wants to know what the story is so it can prepare for the next scene. And if it can't get certainty, it may create certainty by choosing the worst-case scenario. Sometimes the brain would rather have a bad answer than no answer, because at least a bad answer gives it something to organize around. This is why worst-case thinking can actually feel useful. It gives the illusion of readiness. Your brain says, if I imagine every possible bad outcome, I won't be blindsided. And at first that may even feel responsible. You're thinking ahead. You're preparing, you're trying to stay on top of things. The problem is that mental rehearsal can start to feel like safety. Every new scenario feels like one more step toward being prepared, but after a while, the rehearsal becomes the problem. Your brain is no longer moving toward action. It's rehearsing danger. Let's separate these two things. Prediction is useful. You need the ability to anticipate, and that's how you avoid mistakes and prepare for things that matter. If you have a presentation tomorrow, it makes sense to think through what you need. You may review your notes, check your slides, decide what time to leave, and plan what you'll do. If there's a technical issue, that kind of thinking gives your brain a next step, Threat prediction is different. Threat prediction keeps expanding the danger field. It says, what if I forget everything? What if I embarrass myself? What if this proves I'm not good at my job? Now, your brain is not preparing for the presentation. It's preparing your body to survive humiliation or rejection and failure all at once. And your body may respond as if those things are already happening. Your heart rate increases, your muscles tense, your stomach tightens. The brain is simulating possible danger and the body is getting pulled into the simulation. That's a key reason. Worst case thinking feels so draining. You're not only thinking about possibility, you're living with the body's state that the possibility creates. This is where the bandwidth cost comes in. Not only do worst case scenario thinking make you feel anxious, it uses cognitive resources. It takes up working memory, which is the mental space that you use to hold information, make decisions, follow a conversation, solve problems, and even stay focused on what's in front of you. It's a key executive function. You may notice this when you try and read something simple and have to reread the same paragraph 3 times because your mind keeps going back to the thing that you were worried about. Or you may be in a conversation nodding along, but part of your attention is still somewhere else, running the danger forecast in the background, and that's why your focus can feel so scattered. You may be trying to finish a task, but your brain is already doing another job in the background. Monitoring threat, and threat monitoring is expensive. It pulls attention away from the present and assigns it to the future, especially the future your brain is trying to prevent. So worry can feel like preparation, but it's actually making you less prepared. It spends the bandwidth you need for flexible thinking, and flexible thinking is what helps you respond well when something difficult actually happens. Now you may know the word catastrophizing in cognitive behavioral therapy speak. It's a cognitive distortion. Catastrophizing is when your mind jumps to the worst possible outcome and treats it as likely or almost certain, and that word is useful. But I don't want to stop at the label, because the label sometimes makes it sound like your mind is just simply being dramatic, but there's more happening underneath the thought. The worst case story may be exaggerated, but it's serving a purpose. It gives your brain something to brace against when uncertainty feels too open-ended. And that explains why the thought can feel so hard to drop. It helps to see worst-case thinking as a protective prediction, not just a cognitive distortion. If you call the thought irrational, you may end up arguing with yourself. You may say, I shouldn't think this way, or this is ridiculous, I need to stop. But if your brain believes it's protecting you, shaming the thought doesn't calm the system, it just adds another layer of distress. A more useful approach is to recognize the function of the thought. You can say, my brain is trying to predict danger, so I won't be caught off guard. Saying this doesn't mean the prediction is accurate. It means you understand why it showed up. Then you can ask a better question. Is this thought moving me toward the next step, or is it generating another threat? That question helps you separate planning from threat prediction. Planning leads to action. Threat prediction leads to more scenarios. Planning says if the meaning includes feedback, I'll listen, take notes, and ask what the next priority should be. Threat prediction says, what if the feedback means I'm failing? What if they've already lost confidence in me? Planning gives your brain a path. Threat prediction opens more loops. You don't have to stop every what-if thought. In fact, trying to force the thoughts away can make them stick harder. The goal is to interrupt the idea that every forecast deserves full emotional engagement. Now, how do you interrupt the loop? You don't do it by forcing false positivity. If you try to tell a high-alert brain that everything's going to be fine, it will immediately reject that as a lie and come back with more evidence for why you should worry. Instead, give your brain something realistic and credible to hold on to. So instead of saying, I know this meeting is going to be terrible, you might say this meeting could be uncomfortable. It could also be routine. It may involve feedback, clarification, or requests. I don't know yet. That does 2 things. First, it acknowledges uncertainty instead of pretending that it's not there. Second, it widens the prediction field. Fear no longer gets to occupy the whole space. You can use the same process with a delayed text instead of they're upset with me. You could say they may be busy. They may not know what to say yet. I just don't know. You're not trying to make the difficult possibility disappear. You're reminding your brain that the difficult possibility is just one possibility, not the only one. Then you can add one practical next step if the difficult version turns out to be true. So, for example, if the meeting includes feedback, I can listen and decide what's useful, or if the situation is harder than I expected, I can take it one step at a time. Adding in what you would do helps reduce the fear and anticipation that whatever happens will be disastrous and unrecoverable. So, what's the message here? Worst case thinking is not a sign that you have poor coping skills or you're psychologically devolved. It's a prediction system that has learned to over-prepare for danger. That system may have developed for a reason. Maybe you've been blindsided before. Maybe you've learned early that when good things happen, something bad is right around the corner. Whatever the reason, the pattern makes sense, and because it's a pattern, it can be updated. The goal is not to stop your brain from predicting. Prediction is one of its basic jobs. Your brain is trying to protect you, but when prediction turns into rehearsal and rehearsal turns into alarm, that protection starts to cost you clarity. You can teach your brain to issue better forecasts, ones that prepare you without consuming you. In the next video, we'll move from danger forecast to defensive responses. Why your brain chooses fight, flight, freeze, or fawn before you consciously decide what to do. Thanks for watching today. See you next time.